Thank you. So my project basically stems from yet another way humanity has managed to ruin the environment, antidepressants. And that may be a bit of a slight because we have to consider depression is a debilitating disease. It robs you of who you are, and you're willing to do whatever you can to recapture that. And approximately 1 in 10 North Americans currently take antidepressants. And why wouldn't you? It brings you back to what you were. It changes your brain chemistry until you get that behavioral change that was you. But my mom was not wrong. Whatever goes in has to come out. And it does. Into our wastewater, where it actually comes into contact with non-target life, kind of like fish. In particular, that's where my project really takes hold, because despite the fact that we know antidepressants are in high quantities in these waterways, we don't actually know very much about the impacts on their life. So I look at early life stages in zebrafish, in particular early life stages, because unlike us, these animals don't really get to choose when they come in contact with these antidepressants. And when we expose them, particularly to Effexor, which is the antidepressant that I look at, because actually it's remarkably high despite the fact that no one's really thought it was kind of cool to look at for some reason. But when I expose these fish to these drugs, we see huge changes. They hatch earlier, they grow faster, and they're larger. That actually sounds pretty good. I feel like I've wasted your time. We should probably remarket this as some sort of fast-growing fish model rather than antidepressant. But that's not really the whole story, because if you think about why we take antidepressants, it's to change our brain chemistry. So what's happening to the brains of these fish? When we look at early developmental changes, we've changed the way the brain develops. And this might have huge consequences to their function. And when we actually look at their function through behavioral models, we see changes. They move less than unexposed fish. So when I expose them to Effexor, they move less. And you might be thinking, oh, well, they're chilling out. That's what antidepressants kind of do. But they don't have a safe way like we do. They have to forage for food. They have to reproduce. They have to avoid predators. They have to survive. And we may be limiting that. The remainder of my thesis will look into the processes behind these changes that I've seen. But what we've seen so far paints a pretty bleak picture for what happens to these animals. And yes, we should still continue to take antidepressants. It's undoubtedly saved countless lives. But I just hope I've made you aware and made you slightly concerned that our pursuit of happiness may be robbing the happiness of these organisms. Thank you very much.